Klay Thompson is gone. We all know that. But the full trade details have come out. And not going to lie, folks, Warriors did pretty good. We got a trade exception that allows us to get another player at the same value of Klay Thompson's contract. What does that mean? How's that going to work? We're going to break it down for you in this episode of Warriors Digest and break down all the news around Klay, why he chose the Mavs over other teams. It's all come out. In addition, it's the end of day 2 free agency, so we're going to break down everything else that's happened around the NBA and how that impacts the Warriors. Of course, earlier we got Melton. We talked about that. Melton. We talked about that. So, defensive player coming in, shooter coming in. How's this fit? Randy Silver here, Warriors Digest. We're going to break this all down and more. If you're part of the 14% that is with us, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. First time here, we give you videos daily and everything around Warriors World. Summer League's coming up. Olympics is coming up. Regular season, obviously. It's all here for you. All right. Warriors rumors. Klay Thompson would have come off the bench for Golden State. The main reason, he didn't want to come back. Also, the reports are he had hurt feelings about coming off the bench in the middle of the season. Obviously, he started last year. Maybe it's not obvious, you don't know. He started last year. He played poor. Shot ball bad. Ball no in net. Randy caveman. That's how Klay played. Cave bad. And you know what? Kuminga ended up starting for him. And Kuminga really showed out. Brandon ended up starting for him. Brandon showed out. And he was disappointed. Felt it was a demotion, lack of respect. Fair enough? It is a demotion when you come off the bench. He pouted for a bit. His body language was poor. His play was poor. Until he had that talk with Steve Kerr about having fun. Kind of went back up. And unfortunately, his Warriors career, unless he goes back, will end with a goose egg against Sacramento, 0 for 10 shooting. Really shame after all he's done for us. But that's the past. We're looking to the future. So that's why this rumor of Klay coming off the bench, he didn't want to do it. I'm assuming by going to Mavericks, they told him he will start. If Thompson had returned to Golden State, the Warriors plan to bring Thompson off the bench behind sophomore guard Brandon Podziemski. And again, Podziemski was a all-rookie first team last year. That's why when people say he should become backup point guard for Curry, I know I've talked about some lineups. This just proves that Brandon will start all season for the future, multiple seasons. He is someone the Warriors want to build up and give him all the playing time and stuff. That's why he's going to the USA Select Team. I saw somebody put in the comments, and I love that. I hope you're listening to this, that the USA Select Team is basically a sparring partner for the big boys. It's such a great analogy to MMA. The USA Select Team practices with the Olympics team for the couple weeks before they head over to France, so that way they get experience. It's a lot of the younger players who potentially become Olympians, become a part of that USA national team. They get experience. Also in Vegas, Summer League, so Brandon will be doing double duty. Trace Jackson Davis is doing double duty. It's great experience for them. They go against the big boys, to play on the team with other people of their similar age range and level, and then go be a captain on the Warriors Summer League team and have a different role there than what they had as a rookie. If you want to see a full Summer League breakdown, I have the video linked right now. It's in there. You can check it out. So what was the trade details? Dallas gets Klay Thompson, 3 years, $50 million. Golden State gets 2 second-round picks and the trade exception, and Charlotte get Josh Green. Josh Green going to Charlotte opened up the space for Klay Thompson to get 3 years, $50 million, which comes out to about $17.5 million a year. So we talked about the trade exception. So more detail. Golden State receives 2 future second-round draft picks per NBC Sports Monty Poole. By taking back no salary, the Warriors also create a trade exception just shy of $16 million, indicated by NBA insider Mark Stein. The 2 draft picks. 2025 second-round pick, least favorable between Denver and Philly, and 2031 second-round pick, Dallas. Golden State did not want to add salary. Held them stay below the apron in the luxury stuff. So, again, we get a second-round pick in next year's draft, the least favorable of Denver and Philly. You have to think Philly will be an Eastern Conference final team. Why? Paul George now, Tyrese Maxey, Embiid, Eric Gordon. A solid starting 4. Maybe Gordon comes off the bench as the 6th, but they have a couple other players they signed. Denver, finals champions 2 years ago. This year, got knocked out in the semifinals by Minnesota. They could be back. They lost KCP. That's a big hole. We'll see what they continue to do. But long story short, those will be back-end second-round picks, not going to be high value. Who knows where Dallas will be in 2031? So the question is, what is a trade exception? I broke this out for you guys. The exception can be used to trade for a player or multiple players with salaries adding up to that amount without adding to their cap and luxury tax liabilities. It's all part of the trade player exception clause in the NBA's and National Player Association's collective bargaining agreement. And it's good for 1 year. 1 year. So that means from this trade until next July 1st, we have 1 year to use the trade exception. This is how we got Andre Iguodala back to the Warriors. If you remember, he left and went to Memphis. I think it was Miami, and then he ended up on Memphis, if I remember correctly. And we traded for him to come back to the Warriors. It's because we had a trade exception. Again, we're not bringing back any money here. $16 million basically is what Klay is getting, a little bit more. So our trade exception is around it. So we can trade for a player and get nothing back. And give no money to the team. So let's just use an example. Let's use Klay Thompson. Say Klay is having a terrible year on Dallas, and they want to send him back to Golden State. They can send him back send him back to us, and we give Dallas nothing. It's basically a salary dump for that team. So any team at the All-Star break, at the trade deadline, who looks like they're not going to be successful in the playoffs, they want to try to cut payroll, get under the taxes. They want to send a veteran player to a team who has a chance to make the playoffs and go far. Or they want to make space for a player and a new player coming up. They can trade that player away or players. And we can get that, and then we use our trade exception. So let's just use example, another team. Atlanta Hawks. I know Trae Young's contract is over $60 million. Say Atlanta's terrible this year, and you're like, you know what? We got the first pick this year. Let's try to tank after midseason and get another first pick and rebuild. We're going to send Trae to the Warriors, and we'll get nothing back. It's a salary dump for us. He's off the team. We don't have to worry about it for the rest of this year and future years. That is what the trade exception is, and you have 1 year to use it. So that means at some point this year, the Warriors will make a trade. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be midseason, whatever, and we can get a player back. We don't have to send anything, and it won't hit our tax and luxury or salary. Does that make sense? Comment below. I hope that makes sense. Again, long story short, we can make a trade for a player without having to give anybody up, and it won't affect our books for $16 million. And it can be multiple players to equal that $16 million. So that is your trade exception, what that means. Why did Thompson pick the Mavs? It came down to two teams, the Mavericks and the Lakers. Mavericks general manager Nico Harrison and VP Michael Finley helped sway Thompson's mind. Per Woj, Thompson was inspired by the chance to compete for a 5th title with Dallas, who's fresh off the trip to the finals. Again, they bringing back the same team. I think they're going to get better with more experience, a lot of young players on the team. Lakers, uphill battle. They were bounced in the first round by Denver. They think they'd be better. His dad, Laker legend. His dad's radio call for the Lakers. Thompson lives in LA in the offseason. So Dallas made a very big pitch that worked. And Klay's always talked about, I just want to win, win, win. And he thinks Dallas has a better chance to win. He thinks Dallas has a better chance to win. He thinks Dallas has a better chance to win. Not the Warriors, not the Lakers, not the Clippers. There were conversations. Maybe he goes to Philly, Magic. Those were front runners. But nope, Dallas. And because of that, where are we at on the offseason outlook? If you're a Warriors Digest fan, we show this a lot. Again, we're right here. Klay Thompson, gone. I'm going to keep showing this photo because I love it so much. So, with Chris Paul's $30 million gone, you're at 144. We brought in Melton at the mid-level exception for $12 million. So, we're basically at 156 in that range. So, we have some room to still sign some players if we wanted to. Again, the trade exception will not impact any of that. But what it will be impact is Klay Thompson being off this team. So sad. So sad. Okay, with that being done, now let's go ahead and do just a quick free agent recap of what happened the past 24 hours. Because of, I'm sure Derrick Jones Jr. realized that, let me pull this up. There we go. So Derrick Jones Jr. went to the Clippers. He was with the Mavericks, 3 or $30 million. That also helped make it more apparent for Mavs to get Klay. Kelly Oubre Jr., former Warrior, is going 2 years, $16 million to Philadelphia. So that'll be your starting five. Eric Gordon, Oubre, Maxey, Embiid, Paul George. Pretty good and lengthy too. Paul George, 4 years, $212 million, $53 million per year. His contract with the Clippers was $48 million, so boom, he got more there. Tyrese Maxey got his Supermax $204 million. Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins staying with OKC. Good for them. Jalen Smith, 3 years with the Bulls. And this was a big one. I mean, Isaiah Hartenstein going to OKC, 3 years, $87 million. And it kind of sucks because he would have been good with the Warriors. You saw what he did with the Knicks. Could have been helping TJD in that spot. We're going for a trade for Markkanen. We've talked about that. That's our last thing. I have a whole video out. You can take a look at that. T-Wolves re-signed Luka Garza. DeLon Wright going to the Bucks. Derek White staying with Celtics, getting the bag, 4 years, $126. Whew, $30+ million a year. Klay Thompson, Mavs, we talked about that. Batum staying with the Clippers. Lakers striking out on 3 of their top free agents. LeBron James can now take the full max and it doesn't matter. Again, Markkanen, we talked about signing Melton. Jason Tatum is now the highest paid player in the NBA. 5 years, $314. That comes out to $62 million a year, basically. Wild. $62 million a year. So that is free agency, and more will come. I mean, the Warriors don't have much more. Probably they're going to do some role players. Summer League starts in 5 days for us. Some news has been coming out, so we'll keep you updated there. Tough day, folks. It's official. Klay Thompson's no longer Warrior. I've seen a lot of comments, people saying it's good. Fire Joe Lacob. You can't fire him. He's the owner. Fire Mike Dunleavy. You could, but I think they're doing a good job. The trade exception is big, not bringing back salary. You got to let them try to build this roster out. Yes, it would have been nice to have Zach LaVine. He's injury prone. And for Chris Paul and Wiggins, and then bring back Zach LaVine and that salary, I just wasn't a fan of it. So comment your thoughts. Let me know on this. And if you're watching this right now and it's Monday, July 1st, go USA, baby. We're beating Uruguay. Let's go. Woohoo! Boom. Warriors Digest out.